Hello YouTube community, my name is the JackGamer13 and for some reason I have a tendency to rant. So I'm going to try and keep this video as short as possible. Well, not really as short as possible, it's going to be 20 minutes because that's just how the footage goes. I'm going to try and keep the part where I'm talking as short as possible so that you guys can learn about the updates that are going on with the channel, possible future things, and then just go ahead and leave if you don't want to watch the rest of the video. In the background you can see a little gameplay of James and I playing on, I think it's called The Dead. And we decided just to play around a little bit. Didn't want to record our voices and audio and commentate over it and stuff like that. So now you guys get to have post commentary. Mike will talk to you about stuff, I guess. So before we begin talking about the series, I just want to say that on my channel I've tried to refrain from swearing. I probably will continue trying to do that as far as I go. I more than likely will continue doing stupid little sex jokes or something like that. I'm not going to change my style of humor. I'm just going to try and change the way that I say a lot of the stuff that I say. So, that's going to be pretty cool. Anyway, I have 3 different series that I was thinking about trying to do, and I want to see what you guys want me to do of those 3. So this is sort of a polling the audience and seeing what kind of reaction I can get from you guys. So, 3 different games, or 1 game and 2 series. Shadow of the Colossus, Persona, or otherwise known as Shin Megami Sensei Persona. I don't know why I keep trying to say Tensei. It's Sensei. There's an S in there, Michael. Shin Megami Sensei, Persona, that whole series, or the Final Fantasy series. Obviously, with Final Fantasy, I'm not going to be playing all games, all 14 games, or however many games there are in English. I'm only going to be playing like 2 or 3 if I play that many, if I even enjoy the games, because I've never played them before. I don't know anything about them. I've never played any of these 3 games before. That's just why I kind of want to do it for this channel. I've never played any of the games, and I've had somebody else influence me to try and play them. So Final Fantasy, a lot of people know it. I just figured it would be something that would help my channel, or at least have some sort of foothold in the RPG world, so that then later on I could bring in RPG games and people wouldn't be freaking out. In fact, the other 2 games are RPG games anyway. So the Persona series seemed pretty interesting. I looked up video games that had good storylines because I kind of wanted to do good storyline in one of my video games so that I didn't have to do a bunch of talking and I could just let the game tell its own story. And found that I think it was the 2nd game got really good reviews. So I'm probably going to get into the series. And then when episode 5 comes out, or I guess game 5 comes out next year, I'll be able to play that and be one of the many people who have jumped into that series. But having actually, played other games before, I have somewhat of a general idea of what the world is like. Seems pretty cool. And then Shadow of the Colossus, which has a much more broad definition for why I want to play it. I saw KA6 Scope, who's a guy that I watch a lot for a lot of different things. He's the guy who I watched for my Duels to the Roses. Before I got into playing the game Duels to the Roses, I watched him play it. And I was like, actually it was after I did the first recording session, I watched him play it. And learned some tips and tricks on how to play the game and how to be a little bit better. So hopefully my next recording session that's pretty good. And then I watched his Pokemon Yellow Let's Play, and then he had a Shadow of the Colossus Let's Play. So I watched the opening cutscene that he had in his episode 0, because technically he didn't actually start the game. And I was like, this game looks pretty freaking amazing. I might want to play it. So I stopped watching the series that he was on. I didn't watch the first video and learn anything about the actual game, just watched the first cutscene. And I was like, dang, dude, I actually kind of want to do this. So I then got into it, learned a bit more about the game, looked on Wikipedia, obviously, because that's the sole source of information that children my age, or not children, I guess, people my age, we're not children, we're teenagers, and we're not adults. We're not young adults, as some people refer to us, we're teenagers. Get it right, people. I'm not ready for that adulthood yet. I ain't about that G-life. So, Shadow of the Colossus has a rather interesting culture to it, I guess. A lot of people really like it. I think it's either for the fact that it was revolutionary and it's really beautiful and one of the first games to focus solely on a good storyline and had symbolism and stuff like that. It's one of the more well thought out games. It's not the first. I don't know why I said the first, but it's one of the more well thought out games and one of the more purposeful games and has some sort of meaning to people. Sort of like an art form. People use it as an art form. I guess is the best way to put it. The video games itself, it looks beautiful. The gameplay is pretty easy. Obvious, not easy. It's obvious. I mean, you have to find weaknesses and you have to, I guess, exploit them to your advantage, and you have to solve a couple puzzles and stuff like that. But for the most part, you don't have to talk to people, and you can get used to how to play the game pretty quickly. Learning the different puzzles is a different matter, and that depends on who you are. But for whatever reason, I decided to check out a movie that actually had featured it in it, known as Reign Over Me. It's a movie starring Don Cheadle and Adam Sandler. And really, the movie was kind of depressing in some instances. To give you a synopsis without trying to spoil too much, and quick warning, this may be a spoiler alert if you've actually not seen the movie. It's from 2007, so if you've not seen it yet, I'd definitely go check it out. Reign Over Me is the name of it. And so basically, now that I've gotten the people who don't want to listen to the spoiler alert out, Adam Sandler's character is suffering from like a post-traumatic stress disorder type symptoms. He basically blocks out any memory of his family, and the big reason is because his family, his wife and three daughters, and their dog even, were on a plane from Boston. For any of you who know a little bit about American history and the 9/11 attacks in 2001, you'll know that there was a plane from Boston that was headed, I don't know if it was for California or if it was for New York as well, but wherever it was headed, it ended up being directed to a different path, and that path was straight into the side of one of the Twin Towers. I do believe that it was the second Twin Tower that they used in the movie, and he watched it as they crashed into it, and that's the reason for his post-traumatic stress. So he has a very interesting character, and Don Cheadle is basically his friend and impetus to try and get out of this funk that he's in. It's a really good movie. Don Cheadle is actually more of the main character. There's a few, I guess, silly aspects to it. In some instances, they kind of wanted to have a little bit of comic relief, so that it's not just a complete drama film. They wanted to have something a little bit in there, and even some of the funny parts in it are even a little sad. The movie itself is pretty good, though. It's up there in one of my top 10 at the moment. I'll have to rewatch it and see if there's some things that I don't like about it, but for the most part, it's one of the best performances I've ever seen of Adam Sandler, and Don Cheadle himself is just the man. So I really wanted to get into Shadow of the Colossus because it was not mentioned, it was actually shown 2 or 3 times, maybe even 4 times in Reign Over Me, and it had symbolic meaning. It starts off when you first meet Adam Sandler. He talks about Shadow of the Colossus, and he tries to get Don Cheadle to play with him, and Cheadle won't go. He doesn't want to play. You know, he thinks he's a grown-up and doesn't have to deal with that kind of thing. He doesn't want to play video games. That's for children, I guess. Or he just was weirded out by the fact of that. I don't know. Whatever the case, I think he starts off with like one of the first colossi. Adam Sandler does, and it kind of shows like the beginning stages of his recuperation. It shows at one point like the beginning colossi, then like one that happens sometime during the middle, and then at the very end it's like the last colossi that you have to face. I think that that's how they ended up working it. I hope that that's how they ended up working it, because then I'll probably sound like an idiot. Excuse me as I readjust my ear to try and scratch it. Thank you. So there was just a lot to it, and Shadow of the Colossus really made a good impression on me with the opening cutscene and the fact that it inspired, I guess, the director of that movie to use it in it. So, yeah, let's see. I think that's all I gotta talk about for those games. I could talk a little bit about my social life and all that, but honestly, I think I'm pretty tired of trying to do that. In the previous attempts, it's never really gone well. So, yeah. I'm a little sick. That's about it. That's pretty much all you guys really need to know. Yeah, so go ahead. If you like one of those 3, go ahead and tell me about it in the comment section below. If you want to see me play all 3 after I finish my 2 LPs, I'll try to do it. It's a lot of money to try and spend on a couple of games like that. In fact, Shadow of the Colossus by itself would probably be $20, $12. depending on where I check. Might even be able to find it for less on Amazon or something like that. We'll try to check that out. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to record some of those games. I might want to get a PC recorder and just emulate them, and get the video game for the console that it originally came out on, instead of trying to go through the whole process of getting a PS1 a PS1 memory card and then playing that PS1 game on my PS2, because I'd probably need like 2 or 3 memory cards considering how small they are. I don't know. And if you have any other games that you would like to see me play, please feel free to talk about them in the comment section below. I really want you guys to be a bit more vocal. I know that I only have 17 or 18 of you guys, so it's not a whole lot, but I mean, all 17 of you have accounts. I don't want you to be, you know, just watching the videos. If you can help me out, I definitely would appreciate it. But if not, then you just want to be one of those guys who watches my videos, and that's all that you do when you don't want to talk, that's cool too. As long as you guys support me in some way, shape, or form, I guess. I really shouldn't be too picky. Beggars can't be choosers, as they say. But I just would like to have a little feedback from you guys. I've gotten it from a few people so far, but honestly not enough to really make me feel like I'm doing something important, whatever. But yeah, now that I've sort of made everything awkward for us, I'm going to go ahead and leave the video, as it were, to you. This has been the Jackhammer 13, and I'm going to be signing out now. See you guys next time.
Georgie.